Okay, daily game design and streaming from Makanalani. I don't know what they call it. Retreat center. Anyway, it's a really nice spot. Here, I'll show you. But I am, um, yeah, just on my laptop. We'll see how everything goes here. Um, yeah, I'm ready to stream. I think it won't be a full session, but I'm applying some really important changes. I made the changes late last night. I really shouldn't have. I should have been sleeping. I should have just gone to bed. But I got home after a play test with Jacoby and T. They had really helpful feedback. Some of it, thankfully, very little of it was actually mechanical, and more of it was like UI, UX sort of issues. So I was really glad about that because I think, I had really major issues when I was testing with Bronson in that he had really strong responses to a couple of things that I knew were an issue, but I didn't know how much somebody might like react to those things. So it was kind of interesting to be able to test right away. I doubt I'll try to jump back and forth a little bit. I'll check. Okay, is that working, Seth? You can hear me? Yeah, it's my first time trying. Um, oh, good to see you. I saw a notification for your stream a little earlier, but this is gonna be a weird one because I'll try to. Anyway, I'll see you. But oh, okay, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I'm just gonna try for it. It's probably not gonna be a great stream, but I just wanted to get it done anyway. So I have a lot of changes to make to the cards, and I'm just gonna go through that now. You'll notice some very big differences, actually. Oh, can change that. I set up all these cards to work. Um, to work on dexterous, so they all want to be. They all want to be the other orientation. Okay, so that was the Sugar Shack starting. Let's try this again. And we need Sugar Shack flipped. There it is. So very, very different scene. Obviously, there's a combination here of the garage and the Sugar Shack. So I've combined a couple things. I'm just going to turn the garage into. Oh, wow. Actually, wait. I think I can just. Oh, no, I know what it needs to be. So there's a new card that I'm calling Partnership. I wonder if it is in here. I think it's a weird name. Oh, I think it's up one. Garage Partner. So this is becoming. It's becoming a new card entirely. It's very different. And what it is, it's basically. Oh, there's like no room for this. So it's going to replace Syrup Ink. So I'm actually just going to get rid of SERP ink right now. This actually looks like a very big space problem right now. It's going to become one. I need to open all these up. Because what I'm going to be doing is basically pairing these cards in almost like as almost a matter of theme. Oh, so that okay. So very important things about these cards are all going to change as I get into it here. But most of the cards are the same. The one thing that's fundamentally different is getting rid of SERP ink and replacing it with a card that's actually in the player's play area. And it gives them, it's basically the effect of SERP ink. Oh wait, this is wrong. It's the effect of SERP ink without needing to go and like leave your play area to get that effect. So it's almost like, here, let me go see how bad things are. Yeah, still very jittery, I assume. I don't know if a whole lot can be done at this point. But, okay, so I need to figure out the space issue. It looks like I might need to shrink the cards. That's not a problem. Okay, so the staff card stays the same. This is going to change. This card is going to, this needs to have some space. So these can kind of shift down. And then that actually works. So if these two are kind of sitting like this, actually I kind of pictured it almost centered, so that's definitely not going to work. But it's okay because it's fine if this card is tucked even further. So it should be kind of like that. Okay, so instead of having the card that you could use as many times as you want, instead of having it out there in SERP ink, it's actually right here in your play area. And I do feel like this is it's taking up a really strange space. It's not even like it's a weird amount of space, but it's also like a strange space. I guess it could technically be out here under the staff card. It doesn't need to be where it's sitting. It's just that I wanted it to overlap. Okay, the other card that is new, it's totally new, is this will be taps right, and I could leave the card back as it is, but I think I can actually just add the back as well. Okay, so that is taps left. I don't know why I call it taps right, but so what the players are going to get is pretty much, again, the same kinds of effects, but what I did was I cut a step. Yeah, this configuration is very not awesome. But I guess I can slide stuff all up. Kind of out of the way. Yeah. So I guess this technically works. It's not fantastic, but that works just like that. Because then what is going to happen is yeah, on TTS this is actually going to be torturous, but what's going to happen is that there is going to be a card now that shows how many cubes you get every time you recall. every time a player recalls. Top down. So this is going to be sitting just like this. And again, on TTS, this could be slightly nightmarish. I might not want to actually stack them as I would at the table, like in person. But I'll show you the gist. Yeah, because the way the cards like jump up and oh, I need to turn off for sure. I need to get rid of these now. Yeah, just for TTS, I might need to do something different. But I did just want to show you what it's supposed to look like. Uh-oh. Very weird. Maybe I could set them. Okay, so it's supposed to look like this. Pretty much. This is going to change here. Let me update these. What is this? Sugar Bush starting. And Sugar Bush flipped. Sugar Bush flipped. So what I'm doing here, the changes I'm introducing actually solve a number of problems. Some of it is the flow of the game. Some of it is like actually manipulating components because they behaved kind of weird. And okay, so let me change this one too. But I think what you'll see as I start changing out the cards are a lot of improvements in understanding what I hope will be kind of hints at understanding what the cards in town are kind of like being able to ascertain more quickly like what a card is for, right? Like, because what I noticed is that players, I'll just copy this. Players might feel like, oh, why is there all this going on in this town? But like, okay, there's lots of buildings, but like, it's not obvious to me right away what the buildings do. A lot of energy. Get a sense for, to just kind of be able to read the town. And that energy is kind of wasted in that sense. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to leave these cubes out here. Just so I don't really have to bother. Okay, this is still good. This is still good. Okay, now I'm going to update. Let me do this. So you'll see on both of the cards here that I'm calling partner cards. You see essentially what. Wait a minute. Yes, you see essentially what you would have on Serve Inc. It's this exact same stuff. Because you still have a track that you're building up. I'm calling it partnership because it's almost like I'm thinking of this card as being kind of reflecting like a business plan, like a vision. It does thematically, I don't really, I don't need it to handle a whole lot. But the point is, those are weirdly other different sized cards. But the point is that because it's in my area, it might be something I kind of understand better. I don't have to spend as much energy like remembering. Okay, like I have to remember my income. I have to remember that this is a place I can go to, um, get things when I need them. Anyway, you can hear some good rooster action nearby. Okay, now let me make some updates here to the rest of town. This is what I'm most excited about. You'll see some little details. And what I'm hoping is that those little details actually communicate a lot. So notice that there's this little strip of grass at the bottom of that card. You can also see that I've actually stacked, I've laid out the cards differently. This is actually an old layout. Notice that I now have cards so that there are meeples on the right, and now there are also meeples on the left. Okay, what am I changing? I'm changing. This is the gift shop. I would say that I didn't quite have time to print everything out in time to have a working prototype for this trip. It would have been kind of cool. It's the warehouse. What happened here? Did I just, maybe I tried to do it too fast. Gift shop. Okay, this is not right. Let me do the grant office. Now the grant office, I'm taking off little illustration related details. You'll see that especially with the grant office. I'm actually considering changing the grant office so that it would actually be cards. You would receive cards instead of. Yeah, weird. The gift shop is not. The gift shop is not right at all. Okay, what was that? This is the grant. This is the grant office, right? I think so. Yeah. No, I changed the grant office. What am I doing? Oh, this hardware store. Yeah, it's kind of cutting off. You can't really see it, but anyway, I made a couple changes here to the town hall. And the main thing was getting rid of the trophy that you would gain if the town hall was full. That was just it was too powerful with the barrels going, and the way that the warehouse dumped cubes onto the town hall when it paid out. So it was just too strong, I think. Okay, and then so what you can kind of tell is that, well, first of all, the meeples should be. I wonder what's going on here with the gift shop. What happened? See, this is that's the right card. So let me just try one more time to get it to upload correctly. So gift shop. Yeah, it's not behaving well. Try grabbing the card and doing it this way. Why is it not doing this? Like, this is it right here. And it looks good. It didn't do anything to the warehouse. So I'm not sure what is going on there. Because I'm in the right spot. Like, I literally just saw. What is it saying? It's loading complete. Yeah, I don't get it. Let's see if anybody's hanging out. Yeah, something very weird is going on. Literally with this one card. No great reason. But just move it out, and maybe by uploading it from a different directory or a different folder. Maybe rename it. Okay, let's try that, because I wonder if it just doesn't like that it's named the same as other gift shops. There it goes. Very weird. Yeah, I don't get why it was doing that. It must be something about the file. Okay, is this a different size? I think it is. It's not that different. Okay, so what you see. Oh, I think I had some. I need to change these too. Yeah, for sure. So what you see is that the alignment of the meeples is also different, and I think that's important because it actually simplifies how I'm going to run the mayor. Because now, let's say the mayor goes to Closterby Market, he just covers the workers. It's going to be a little awkward here, but it doesn't matter because you can't really use the barrel. Yeah, this is the one where it's going to be weird, but overlapping. But like now, I can lock the card without covering, like awkwardly covering a bunch of cubes, except for on the warehouse. And now space is definitely odd. Like, I gotta find a way to lay these out so that I can actually do what I was trying to do. I think Warehouse Wonder is the same. I think this changed. Farland Fuel changed a little bit because I got rid of the gear. Yeah, I got rid of the gear. Oh, no, they all do change because I gave a hint at where you need to go in order to claim the card. So Warehouse Wonder does need to change. You can see in the top left of the card, I added a little symbol. I added the icon for the town hall and also a little green check mark. So yeah, all of these need to get updated. This is Rolling Barrel. It's so nice not having a game that has like 180 cards or something. I can't imagine like going through this process. I mean, I know there are much faster ways to do this than I'm doing it. For example, you can just like export a Dexterous file and it'll dump all the cards in here, but I don't mind doing this when Flapjack Feast, I think it is. Yeah. I don't mind doing this when, you know, it's whatever 20 something cards. This one is important to change because the Syrup ink track no exists, so I had to make it look different. So this is corporate incentive. So this is even not a useful name anymore, but that's detail that's all flavor and not mechanically important. So yeah, okay, so that's good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is essentially the new system here. What I like, I need to find a better way to represent these two, but the grass, these two grassy, these are both the market, so there are ways to get cubes to go to the grant office and also to earn money off of those cubes, like right away. So they're instant money sources. Then go up to this the dirt area. I don't know. This doesn't make any thematic sense, but the warehouse and the gift shop both have like time delay effects. So in the warehouse, you get paid out when the sugar bush flips. In the gift shop, the gift shop empties when the sugar bush flips. So anyway, there are ways to get big payouts, but there's some time factor. Okay, now the grant office and the hardware store are both ways to upgrade your situation. So that's pretty clear, and they're on the road. You can't really see the road very well because of the way the card gets cropped in TTS. And then the brick, there's a brick strip, these two. Town hall is just the way to get the mayor going, and then the community project is just the way to get trophies. So kind of just two different cards. The brick they're not necessarily linked in that they do the same stuff. They're not like any of these other cards. So I felt fine about doing that. Anyway, part of the point of doing this is to make reading, understanding what the cards do more accessible. That was the point. Like, once you see that these are linked in a weird way, or in a way even just by the fact that they have the same kind of strip at the bottom, you might be able to remember what they're for, and that's really, really important. You don't want to spend a lot of energy having to like refresh all the time. What was the gift shop all about, or what do I do with the grant office again? Okay, the hardware store and grant office, right? They're totally about upgrading. Cool. Okay, I got it. Another thing I really need to work on is what these symbols are supposed to remind players to do. I found because players were like kind of overwhelmed, and this is something I noticed. This is something I saw with it's something I saw with the Tia and Jacoby game last night. It's that T kept wanting to place cubes on this spot. So it shows a space for a cube, and you know what I just realized? I should put like a hand. I should put a little hand, and probably even take this symbol, like completely change it, but place a little hand above them, and a hand hovering above this bottle and maybe even take the square off of it. It's kind of like, I think that's an effect of the mind, the brain being overwhelmed, and then looking at a card. Okay, it looks like this spot is important, so let me put cubes on this spot. When that's not at all what it's doing. It's trying to communicate that what you need to do with a cube is this. So, like in this case, what you need to do with a cube, first of all, you need to do something with cubes when you come to this location. What you do is you place cubes on spaces on this card. That's what this little arrow is meant to indicate. The same is true over here at the grant office. Whenever you see this symbol, it means you need to claim a space. And in the grant office, that means that you are claiming one of these 4 spaces. The same is true for the community projects, right? It's the bottle with the arrow going down. So you need to what that's telling you is you need to place a cube on this card somewhere. That was the idea, but it's not working very well. Here's another. This was the most problematic. It was the markets. So they kept wanting. I don't think it was just T actually, but they kept wanting to place or T more than once place the cube right here. Right? She placed it right there. That's not where the cube is supposed to go. This icon is meant to tell the person to send that cube up to the town hall. So one of the things I actually improved is very much a little tweak, but it's that I lightened the town hall so that there's more of a contrast between the brown of the Xur cube and the tan of the town hall. So I actually changed the coloration there, just so hopefully with higher contrast, they would understand more easily that this is referencing the town hall. Okay, but anyway, I need to make a big UI change there. And I think I just realized what it is. I think it's to probably put a hand and a bottle and something like where does this bottle go? So maybe it even could be similar. But anyway, I think I can work on that later. That's very much a UI thing. But anyway, I think I really like what's going on. And I don't remember if I don't think I was testing this idea when I was building. What was I doing? I think I was building a prototype, maybe. Last time I was on here. Maybe not, I'm not too sure. But the important thing is that now there is no intermediate step between the sugar bush and cubes that are like available to you to use. Previously, cubes would go, you had to, back when it was everybody places all the meatballs and then all at the same time they recall. At that point, then you would run, when you recalled, then you would run this process where you would, move the staff, refill the staff, move the staff over, bottle the cubes, so move the cubes from the evaporator to the garage, and then move cubes from the sugar bush to the evaporator. So there was always this step, and so you kind of had to look at the stream and pay attention to how many cubes are coming, and then maybe plan on that. Well, when I went to this rolling style where you can recall whenever, you have to recall whenever a worker is not, you don't have to wait for the other player to run out. You just recall, even if they're still placing a worker, you just recall, bring your people back. And I actually really like that because now there's a consideration of like, whoa, maybe I don't recall now because it opens up a space for, I don't want to recall early because maybe it opens up a space that my opponent can use and they're looking forward to using. Okay. So anyway, in that version, you had to send a worker to the sugar bush to send cubes to the evaporator. So that now became an action space, a location where you would send a worker. And that was probably because I wanted to reduce the number of steps that somebody went through when they recalled. Because I wanted recalling to just be a snappy, quick thing. Okay, recall, that's your turn. Now the other player takes a turn, then bam, you're taking turns again. Rather than, let me recall, let me go through 17 steps while my opponent waits. Or they take their turns kind of early, and then I realize, oh, okay, so it's my turn. You just went and you're still waiting for me. So I wanted to reduce that, whatever that recall that recall cycle. I wanted to reduce the length of that, shorten it. It's funny to say reduce the length of that and then say shorten, and realize that shortening is what I was trying to do, and that's what I just did by saying shorten. So anyway, when you recall, that's when cubes would go from your sugar from the evaporator in your sugar shack to the garage. So there was an automated step, but you still had to send a worker down into the sugar bush to bring cubes up to the evaporator. Well, that was the step that really was like infuriating. Wow, I had trouble with that word recently. Infuriating Ronson, like to the point where he almost wanted to quit the game. He was so irritated by that. The reason I think he was irritated is that you want to focus on town, right? You want to be taking big, interesting actions, or you want to take big turns. You want to do cool things in town. You don't want to have to come down and remember that, okay, in the sugar bush, you really need to remember to keep that flow of cubes going. Well, even if that was kind of slightly more thematic, in that it seemed useful to, it was a one way of making people pay attention to their sugar shack, the name of the game. That seemed like a good idea, but mechanically it's very cumbersome, or it's awkward, it's kind of hard to remember, it feels inefficient, it feels boring. Oh shoot, yeah, it feels almost like a punishment. I need to waste a worker to go down into the sugar bush and then bring up cubes. So by cutting that step, I think we still get the flow. You still get the flow of cubes because it's literally the same. Right? The evaporator, you would fill up to a certain number and then you would pay a little more to fill the rest of it. In this case, when you recall, what's happening is you'll recall and then automatically those cubes get bottled in your sugar shack. So essentially, it's in the process of recalling all your workers, you're imagining going through the whole process of making maple syrup. So you tap the trees. These are called taps now. You tap the trees for the number of cubes. 2 for free, and then 1 more for 3 money if you want. And now in the hardware store, the upgrade is not flip over your sugar shack. It is slide out the card that will show another cube. It's to improve your taps. It's not to improve your sugar shack. And instead, with the sugar shack now, the improvement is not, there's no garage anymore. The improvement is just adding barrels. So I combined the garage and sugar shack, or reworked the garage, made it the sugar shack, and then reworked what used to be the evaporator and just threw that in with a sugar bush. So I cut out that step. And so in other words, when you refresh, you get cubes right away, and you get to decide how many cubes you want. That's still a decision, but those are available to you for your next round immediately. So you're not having to do this weird, like every now and then, this awkward step of what feels like wasting workers. So hopefully that's much more satisfying. And I'm going to say, you know what, this is a big enough change that I'm actually going to save this as a new version. How crazy is that? Right now, that was 19. This is now 20. That's pretty nuts. And I think that's the whole upgrade. Yeah, I think that's about it. Because I know I'm actually heading out for food pretty soon. But okay, so just a recap. Some of the changes. I took Syrup Ink. I dissolved Syrup Ink. I repurposed. I split Syrup Ink and gave what Syrup Ink does to each player individually and put it in their player area. So as with Syrup Ink, you can put as many workers here as you want. And you know, when you put a worker, you have to decide: are you adding to your, are you placing a cube here so that eventually you're going to get more income when you recall and also get a trophy? And I like that because now the income is right here. It's right in front of you. You don't have to go and check Syrup Ink. It's like part of your little establishment. So I think that's nice. Also, and I think it was actually a Jacoby observation, that it seemed cluttered. It was this weird part that acted very differently from the rest of them. So why is it out there? And there's there's piling bodies on there of all these meeples that were just kind of mixed together and weirdly placed, and you're just cramming them on that card. It didn't seem very good. So sending that stuff to the player seemed like a good idea. And so there it is. The other is just make some strides in the department of helping people understand and understand more quickly, and then remember what each of these buildings do. What's the purpose? When I want to get this done, where do I go? Right, that's really important. You don't waste a lot of energy on like, how does this thing work again? Where are the upgrades? Which part am I supposed to look at? Like, so hopefully that goes away sooner than later. It's still going to be there because it's still a lot of cards to understand, right? There are still 4 different tiers here that matter. And you'll have to just kind of get to know the town. You'll have to get to know the area, right? The other improvement here is that I'll be able to just drop the mayor cards. Like, what is this? This is the grant office. I'll just be able to do this, and it's just a less awkward placement. What is this one? Okay, so this is close to remarket. This is the one that's still awkward. But anyway, it locks down the location without completely covering the location. The reason I had to do it, make the change the cards quite a bit, is because now the mayor can just hang off the side over here. So anyway, I think it totally works. There was a time when I thought I want all of the location cards to have workers on the same side. So they're all on the right, and the cost and the payout is all on the left. Well, now if I have the cards like reflecting, it's totally fine to just flip one side so that the meeples line up on the edges, and the costs and the payouts are in the center. That's totally fine. And going back to this 2 by 2, 2 per tier. This is a very old layout. This actually goes back to my first video that I made. I think it was last year May, or my first pitch video, which I showed kind of recently. Anyway, I think that is pretty funny that I've reverted to this to this layout. I'm excited about it. I think there's probably still some awkwardness and still some confusion around what to do with which card, but I like this little detail because they were talking about having like different colored backgrounds, and I don't mind that idea. Really, having a totally different background. But if I just have this little hint that these cards are different, like something about these cards, you can remember, like, there is kind of a relationship here, but like, just remember that you would go to this card for different reasons than you would go to these cards. And marking them with this like different terrain, I feel like was like a kind of a cool light bulb moment. Like, you don't have to make crazy big changes, especially ones that like take a lot of ink as I'm prototyping. But just little hints, little reminders, that players can hang their attention on, hang their hat on to play more smoothly and with more understanding and better, more comfort. I think is really, really nice. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, and so I think the best feeling, even though I feel like maybe T and Jacoby are not necessarily my target audience, I would like some like heavier gamers to try this now, because the feedback I got from Ronson was like, it is pretty sandboxy. It felt like there's a lot going on, and maybe it's not all very clear what's going on. Like, you don't know how to get your engine going. Hopefully this layout helps with that understanding. But I do want people who are more used to, your sandboxy Euro games to give some feedback. But I think what was really cool with testing with T and Jacoby is their focus wasn't necessarily on like whether or not the game worked. It was how they could interact with the game, like whether or not they understood by looking at the card what was happening. So yes, this is maybe a step even before, like whether or not the game works, but their main complaints were not that the game is not working. That was kind of Ronson's main complaint. Instead, it was more like, ooh, this takes too much energy to understand. So they were taking turns. They were starting to get comfortable with the flow of the game. Now it's just like, yeah, if this card looked different, I think it would have been faster for us to get to this point. And I really like this adjustment here, with this partner card. I call it partnerships. That'll probably change. It's not even meaningful at all, really, but I think this is a cool thing to test, like giving them more to look at in their own player area, but that it is self-contained, it is theirs. That's the thing they get to improve, and it's multi-purpose because it also shows the steps for paying out. But anyway, everything's right here, which I think is really great. It's not a building that's out there for kind of no reason. Okay, well those are the changes. I'm gonna write down a little bit. I think I'm gonna end the stream here. We're heading to dinner in just a little bit, but I'm gonna write down the idea that I had with really changing what these look like what the iconography around like cubes and like what happens to them, where do they go, what are they up to, like making some adjustments around like that iconography will be very, very important. And I'm going to write down a couple notes after I end the stream. Anyway, I think that's it for me for tonight. Thanks for hanging out. It's just nice to make progress, even though it's slightly awkward here, like just having my laptop. Okay, enjoy your evening, and yeah, bye-bye for now.